Good evening. I'd like to call the City Council, City Waterville meeting to order for Monday, February 12th, 2024. And I would ask that Councilmember Anthony Garver to lead us in the prayer.
Loving God, as we come together tonight for the city of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
And I ask Vice Mayor Mary Duncan to lead us in the pledge. Thank you, and I'd ask for roll call.
Here.
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 And before we move into the next agenda item, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence in memory of our Chief, Steve Parsons, who passed away on January 30th, 2024. Chief was a Waterville chief for our fire department for 18 years. He retired in 2013 from Waterville, but he continued his service out in Grand Rapids, Ohio. So I'd ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Next is the approval of our minutes from the regular council meeting of January 22nd, 2024. You've all had a chance to receive those minutes. I would ask for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved from Councilman Rozak. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Anthony Garver. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Citizens' comments. I do have a couple, and we'll go with ladies first. Today in our audience we have Addison Tuckerman, who is a student at Notre Dame, and she can't wait to get up to that microphone and tell us all about herself and her school. So Addison, please. If you would just state your name and address.
I'm Addison Tuckerman, and I live on 11415 Waterville Street, White House, Ohio. And I go to Notre Dame Academy. I'm a junior, and I'm currently in U.S. history, and we have to have like 4 hours of coming to council meetings, so that's why I'm here.
And do you have a guest with you today?
My dad.
All right, that's important to recognize your dad. Council, any questions you'd like to ask Addison?
You're a junior? So you haven't chosen a college yet?
No.
No.
What school did you say? I'm sorry, Addison.
Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame. Good.
Anyone else in council? No. Well, you're welcome to stay, Dad and Addison, as long as you want, and I'll sign your paper a little bit later, okay?
Okay,
Thank you very much. Good luck. Next, we have citizen Scott Johns would like to address the council. Scott?
Scott Johns, 1207 Applegate Street. And just got a few things topics. I got a couple items that I wanted to bring to council today. Well, there's more than a couple. There's
Scott?
three.
Hey, Scott, can you?
Talk into the
There you go.
microphone.
There you go. Thank you.
More? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
First, I'd like to introduce this piece of. It's called the Waterville Gateway Project. That let me hand these out, then I'll go back and we can kind of.
Thank you, Scott.
I've been giving this a lot of thought for some time now, and it's about really about we have so many things happening in Waterville that for the future of where we're headed and so forth, and about bringing businesses in and so forth. And one of the things that's been on my mind is our entry points for trying to update those and get a better look for the city and more welcoming. And also in that aspect of it, I looked at things and I can see the different design, and I'm sure it's just over the years different people had put these things together. But I think the time is ripe for the city to have some standards set in place as we move forward for our signage. And I thought, what a better way to mimic the clock tower and the main sign that's downtown Waterville. And one of them is on the Anthony Wayne Trail. As you come in, that's an easy fix, because all you got to do is put the roof on the top, and it matches the clock tower. And then I thought, well, with the bypass coming into Waterville, we really should have something there. And then also coming over the bridge. Looking to the left, there, you got the house there. It looks like there's a little bit of room there. I don't know if that's enough or not. Now, keep in mind, these are all just my ideas, and it's a starting point. It's a discussion point. So I put together, I call them sketches because they're really not to scale, but some people will call them actual drawings. That's the engineering in me, so. But anyway, and then, so the way I thought about this was, we can modify that existing sign that's on the trail. It needs to be cleaned up. Take the shrubs off the back side of it, or not the shrubs, the bushes, and put a "Thank you for visiting Waterville" on the back side as you're leaving town. And we could do that on all these. You can build two more that are identical to that one, and that one's got the bridge arches in it, that gives some type of a historical aspect of Waterville. And maybe you do a background on the other ones that has just an outline of the downtown, and then maybe on the other one you have the Columbian House, just as a backdrop on those. So those are just some thoughts that I had, and I kind of wrote it all out on my little write-up on my ideas and so forth. And it's something that I just think it'd be nice to try to get something in the works to do that. The other thing is I know the Rotary had built those wood structures for their things, but maybe do a column with a brick column for the Rotary, and then have you can angle it such that two sides will show towards the road. I counted; they got 12 circles on it, and you could accommodate all that on that. And it would be in line with our clock tower and so forth. And then the other thing is I have an arch across our downtown. Arch, or just a structure that goes across that says Historic Waterville. And you could use that for seasonal things with lights and so forth as a welcoming point to the city in the historical, the prime downtown area. And so you can see on the drawings there, you'll see different ideas, and I'd like to see if we can kind of move forward and kind of update the city in that aspect of it.
Okay.
All right, I have a couple comments, but council, start with Mary.
No, I think this is great. Thanks for bringing it to us. We'll take a look at it.
Todd?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. This is
A lot of work.
Yeah, this is great. I like the vision. It's a good starting
Okay.
point. Thank you.
Anthony?
Scott, have you been down signage, and I love this, by the way. I think this is a fantastic idea. Have you been down River Road? When you come into Maumee, they have something very similar to what you're talking about. And it's a narrow sign, and it's a welcome to Maumee, and it's absolutely amazing.
I haven't
Big
seen
sign.
that.
If you a lot of people don't drive down that part of River Road. But if you do, it might spur some more ideas for you, and it kind of
Okay.
falls right in line with what you're talking about. They have done the same thing, have a theme through their signs, and have done a fantastic job. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's time for an update from the city's aspect, especially as we're growing and moving forward, so.
Good. Anything else?
No, sir.
Wayne?
I agree. I like everything you've done. I guess, you know, I like you, I feel we're kind of lagging behind.
Mhm.
Go down Maumee and they've got the big monument sign, Maumee sign, and White House, even though they don't have any money, you know, just seems to have a nice downtown. It's pretty clean, so I would, and I've passed that wood rotary sign. I think there's one next to Speedway as well.
Yeah, it's already split in the back
It's
and
like, man,
coming
I just want to
apart.
get out there one day and just fix it myself, but it's like, you know, but yeah, I mean, it would be nice. Is that, John, that's our land? Or is it considered park land?
It's an easement that the city has for that sign, and the Rotary, you know, used their money to do the sign, and there's been some discussion at the Public Works Committee about looking at this in the master plan, and that's something we're going to start up. But the idea of, you know, taking a look at all of our entry points and
Yeah, yeah.
trying to standardize stuff, and you know, like you said, that some things are older and they're a little different, and so.
Well, and I just think it's time that we set some guidelines for the city, that if somebody wants to put something up, there's got to be a guideline that gives us some consistency as we move forward.
Sure. Do we have a next phase for Parker after phase 3?
Well, I guess that depends,
Okay.
but probably not.
Maybe we could incorporate the arch over the bridge, you know, with the parks, you know, coming in, since there's not much room with the houses.
Right.
But maybe we could do an arch there.
Well, I was thinking downtown with across, as you're coming down the
Maumei's-
trail,
yeah,
and you
like
see
Maumei's
that
doing.
you're going off to the downtown area,
Yeah.
right across there,
Good.
my vision was, I thought that would be a great opportunity to,
I agree.
Yeah, no, it's
from a
great
welcoming
ideas.
standpoint.
John Rosick?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Scott, great idea. I always appreciate when our citizens come to us with wonderful ideas, and this is one. Very good. Thanks for all your time on this. And you know what happens, though, when you bring us an idea and we form a committee, we need somebody to chair the committee. So,
You beat my punchline. I was going to get to that.
Leaving that to the mayor.
keep that in mind.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Anthony?
I love the arch idea. I think that's really cool, and I think that making everything uniforms is going to work out well. So thank you very much for presenting it.
All right.
So, Scott, thank you. Scott and I had a chance to talk a couple days ago, so I appreciate the heads up. And this is an excellent idea, and I think, like John Rosick said, it's nice to have citizens, you know, think of some ideas. I think, like John mentioned, we're in the midst of getting our long-range plan off the ground, and this fits into that, and also with the public works. So, and it's budget time, so this is probably right now, right time to have some
Well,
discussion.
I figured it'd be a funding issue, so.
Well, it's never an issue. I think we just need to have some thoughts. And so let us chew on it a little bit. But like John Rosick said, we'll be in touch with an ad hoc committee, which perhaps you might get a phone call.
Okay,
And I think the
I'm
other
open to it.
I think the other thing is like the clock tower, you know, brand it like that. And we got the metro parks with their branding, and how do we kind of complement those things? So this is good, and I think it's a good way to start the new year off. So thank you.
The one thing too is that sign that's on the trail, it's got a lot of green and stuff on it. It needs to be power washed. I'm just bringing that up. It just
Right.
it needs some cleaning.
So maybe the short term is just some immediate, modifications, and then probably be that plan to put something like this in place. So
Yeah.
thank you. Alrighty.
I got a couple more things.
Anyway, no, go ahead.
The other thing, the recycling, and I know this has probably been brought up before, but I drive down Holloway Road to go to Menards. I go that way. And the fire department there they expanded their parking lot on the right side. And they have that as well lit. And I always see a lot of people in there just driving in and circling. Is that something that we could entertain in our fire department area there off to the right?
I know that the administration did look at that way back when, and I guess it's worth, again, looking at, but it is a tight area. There is some concern. We got to make sure we got vehicle parking spots for our volunteers to come in. So I'm not saying no.
Well, I mean, you could expand the parking lot. Go
Right,
over,
right.
it looks like there's land there, but the only thing you gotta worry about is the tension wires. I don't know where those fall in line.
Right.
If they come in and start dumping the dumpsters, you know, you don't want them obviously hitting that, but, it's something to consider, you know. It's well lit, it's visible from the main road versus like the old recycling place.
Mhm.
You can't see anything from the main road, and to me, that's more of a safety issue there than anything, but that's just a thought too, so.
Good.
Oh, and then if you guys could, on your, when your council comments, just give the citizens an update on our total eclipse event.
It's funny you should ask. Well, I know we got a team that's already on it, but we'll get back on that.
All right, that's it?
All right, thank you, Scott.
All right.
All right, I don't think we have any other citizens that took out the opportunity to speak, but if you would like to do so, now's the time. All righty, we'll move on to our staff reports. Our administrator, John.
Thank you, Mayor. The city received the tentative dates for the Food Truck Tuesdays for 2024 at Conrad Park. So we're looking at June 11th, July 9th, and August 13th. And that's from 5:30 to 8 p.m. So always successful. Everyone seems to enjoy it. So I can't think of any conflicts there, but those were the suggested dates for that. The Northwest Ohio Regional Liaison for the Auditor of State, Keith Faber, who happens to be our former mayor, Laurie Brody, will be here at the next council meeting to present the city with our award from the auditor for our 2022 state audit. So that's she'll be here at the next council meeting. And we did have a question regarding painting the speed limits on the pavement, and we did research that, and currently, you know, the city is bound by the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, so that's something that's approved by the state of Ohio that regulates speed limit signs, stop signs, yield signs, that kind of thing. So there's nothing in there that permits us to put the actual speed limit on the pavement because it's not in their manual. So it wouldn't be enforceable in court. So that's probably why you don't see it anywhere. I know that ODOT has paints, you know, around the expressway. You know, this is north, south. You know, they on Airport Highway they've done that, but I've never seen ODOT do any speed limits on their pavement. And we did consult them, and they, I guess, recommended against that. So that is the research there. Council has a copy of my report if they have any questions.
Council?
I have one. How many new home permits did we issue this month?
I think we have 3 or 4 that we did. I usually give a kind of a yearly, you know, how many homes we do in a year. I can do that at the next council meeting, but I guess in general, I think it's slowing down a little bit, but the last couple of years it's been slowing down, but I believe last year we probably had 27 to 32 new homes.
Thank you, John.
Other council, John?
Couple, Mayor, you mentioned the review of the master plan, John. I wonder, is that moving right along?
The consultant is getting back from vacation this week, so we're gonna try to meet with him, and we have a list of residents that are interested in being on the committee, and send them a letter, and you know, they can check off things they're interested in, so try to key them into certain committees that maybe they would be interested in, and or certain components of the master plan that maybe they're more interested in the parks and not, you know, State Route 64 or something like that, or transportation, or So yeah, it should be moving right along, and we'd like to get that going.
Great, great. And then, is there hunting in our parks? You talked about putting up no hunting sign. I mean, are people shooting at wildlife?
Well, we had our presentation at the
I
last
know,
meeting.
yeah.
I think there's a problem down along the river, and so the chief and the police chief and the public works director and I, we kind of got together and talked about what should be on the sign. We should have our city code on the sign, but we should also have the Ohio Revised Code section that applies, and then, you know, what's the best color? If it's green, it's gonna blend into the trees and things. So yeah, we came up with a design and a size, and those are being ordered, so.
Is it just for the river area or all the parks?
You know, I think we should probably put them in all of our parks, just to be consistent, not that, hopefully we don't have hunters in Prairie Trail
No,
Park,
I was
but.
concerned, John, when I read this. We don't want shooters at Bear Park, you
Right,
know.
exactly. So yeah, that, you know, try to be consistent and just put them in all the parks, I think.
Yeah, great,
Yep.
all right, thanks. That's all I had, Mayor, thanks.
Any other questions for the administrator? All righty. Down here, Mary or Todd? All right. We will move on to our law director, our assistant law director.
No report today, Your Honor.
Thank you. And our finance director is not, he's here tonight, our treasurer is not, but Mark?
Okay. At the end of December, our balance was 11,153,892. That is approximately 241,691 less than what our balance at the end of November. However, it is also 661,359 greater than December of last year. So our balance went up again, which is good. You can attribute that to our income taxes primarily, and that's an obvious because that's our primary revenue source. So with that, if you look at pages, these balances are on page 5 and also on page 1, okay? Our investments are pretty much the same. They haven't changed much. The primary expenses that have driven the lower balance along with the revenues would be, we've had Motorola Police radio, communications equipment, Jones and Henry Engineering for River Road Engineering, Lucas County Treasurer Operation and Maintenance, Hanks Plumbing and Heating at $9,500, Bowers Asphalt at $17,959, the Dutch Road Pump Station, Kron Liebing, I think I pronounced that right, at $11,860. So these are some of the larger expenses that we incurred in December. And our reader report, I'm going to just brush on December as a refresher. We received 238, 283 in December, and this is on page 19, by the way. So that was down from December of 22 by 11,000. We landed with 11,352 as a final 511,352, up from last year at 11.28%. Your January reader report is on pages 18 through 20, and we received 349,897. That was up from January of 23 by 40,769. So we started out very good for January in our RETA collections. So that puts us at 13.75% above last year. So, any particular questions?
Questions, Mary?
No, nothing.
Todd?
All good? Nothing,
Nothing?
sir.
Wayne? John Rosick.
I did just notice, not just now, I mean, I noticed before, Mark, but anyway, I agreed that the balance has increased from January to December, that's terrific. But there was a large drop from August to December.
August to December.
And I'm just asking for a refresher on what we must have spent some money in the meantime.
We're moving through projects,
Yeah.
and so our expenses are going down. Oftentimes, we don't. Any of the grant funds are reimbursement typically, so we don't get those revenues until later in the year and sometimes into the next year. So I think that's why you're seeing that.
Not something to be concerned about.
No, I don't think it's something to be concerned about at this point.
Great.
As long as our economy and income taxes stay strong, I think we're, I don't want to say comfortable, but we'll always keep an eye on it. But I think we're pretty good.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Good.
You're welcome.
Anthony? No questions? Thank you, Mark. And our treasurer is not here tonight. John, you want to make some comments?
The treasurer's report is in your packet. You can see that the month of December was reconciled, so it matches the finance director's report. And I guess other than that, you might have some things in your treasurer's report that you usually don't get, and that's might be an error on the treasurer's. The treasurer might have given you more information than he usually gives you, but you know, everything is reconciled and looks good.
Good. Questions on that? All righty, we will move on to communications from the council. We'll start with Anthony Bruno
No report tonight, Your Honor.
and John Rosick.
Just to comment, Mayor, as always, I enjoyed the fourth grade student council swearing-in ceremony on Friday. Always a great event at our school. We have some terrific fourth graders, not to mention kindergarten through 3 in Waterville. But it's a great event, as always.
Good.
And
Thank
the
you.
mayor gave a very nice swearing-in ceremony, by the way.
Wayne? Comments?
Couple things. Just notes from social media. There seems to be an issue with people cleaning up after their dogs along Prairie Boulevard. It was a big thing this last week, I guess. And my wife, who is was an avid runner, said this has been an issue for a couple of years. People are leaving, they'll bag up the dog mess and they'll leave it on the trail. So, John, one of my questions was, you know, can we put the doggy, not that we should have to, but can we put the doggy dispensers out there?
No.
Could we get the HOA to put a receptacle, maybe the apartments to put a receptacle, something? Is there anything we can do about
Well,
that?
I mean, I think we could take a look at that, but you know, the shared use path, I guess you'd call it on Prairie is, you know, borders private property, so I don't know if we could put anything, if somebody agreed to it.
Sure.
And maybe the homeowners association has a common area that they could put one on along the way somewhere,
Right.
but yeah, probably be kind of difficult to do that.
Yep, that's it.
All right, thank you. Tony Gerber?
Yes, sir. 25th of January, I sat down with Chief Meyer, and I was really looking to get educated on his report. As we were going through his report, we found some things that weren't completely accurate, and we are looking to maybe make some changes. And those changes are very minor, and they're really due to the change in the business model. They've gone from a volunteer fire department to a full-time fire department. I'll have a sample of those proposed changes here in the next few weeks for council to review and discuss. We generally talked about some staffing things and just the future. And I had questions specifically on how Waterville Township affects our fire service, and he gave me a really good education on that. February 7th, I sat down with John. We just talked about some issues with, you know, citizen issues and Republic Trash Service stuff. I talked with Chief Joe, Police Department, just about ongoing community initiatives, that kind of thing. and I was fortunate enough to attend the Toledo Club Chamber of Commerce Legislative Breakfast, which was pretty interesting for me, being that I'm kind of a fish out of the water when it comes to those kinds of things. Just haven't done them in the past, and it was very enjoyable. And again, I attended the Waterville primary induction, and that was a special treat. That's all, sir.
Thank you. Todd?
No report?
Mary?
Just one thing, I would like you to put on your calendars a save the date for March 23rd. We will have our Easter egg roll in Conrad Park, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. There'll be a lot more details coming in our next meeting about that, but you could save the date. We also will be starting the Easter eggs in the windows of certain businesses, and the little game that we played last year that was very popular. We'll be starting that March 1st. In the next meeting in February, we'll talk details. That's it.
Good. All right, I have a couple things. I guess going back to what John Rosick mentioned, it was a fun time being at the Waterville Primary School with the student council. We inducted, or rather they were administered the oath, and Mary was there, and John Rosick and myself. So, which brings me to the great asset we have in Waterville, our primary school. Actually, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had a chance to be with the principal, Dr. Jamie Hollinger, at a couple events, the Chamber of Commerce, and then obviously at the school. And it's really just a unkept secret of all the things, all the successes they have, and how important it is to have a solid education system. In this case, K through 4th grade. So that was a great event. Secondly, like Tony mentioned, a few of us, Mary Duncan and I, went to the Toledo Chamber of Commerce Legislative Breakfast meeting last Friday. Got a chance to talk to a lot of the local representatives, Congressman Bob Latta, Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur, other state representatives. And you remember a couple years ago, we had Congressman Bob Latta here, kind of did a tour of the city. Of course, at that time, he was our congressman, and now he's not, but Marcy Kaptur is. So there were some discussions about bringing back our Congress representative to the city sometime down the road, so more on that later. Then today, I got to tell you, this is the best part of my job. So I woke up, obviously. That was a good thing. But did my day job. I went downtown to my day job, and then I came back here at 10 o'clock. Officer Kelly with the Waterville Police Department was reading to the probably 3 and 4 year olds, 2 and 3 year old, 4 year olds at the library at 10 o'clock. It was a blast. There was probably 30 or 35 young children there jumping around, and they do a great job at the library of reading to them and getting the kids excited about learning. And so I was there and had a chance to participate. The kids went out and got to sit in the police vehicle. Of course, Chief Vilvano was there, and Chief Kelly, and another officer, I recall his name at the moment. But anyways, it was fun. Then I did my day job for a little bit. I stayed at the library. And then I had a chance to go to the Browning to the High 12 lunch group. And this is a group of seniors that meet once a month, and I had a chance to talk to them as the mayor and talk about things that are going on. Very, very in tuned audience. They know what's going on, and they're excited to be living in our community. Some just moved here a couple years ago, and so I had a chance to do that. Then I went back to my day job, and then I got a chance to visit with Rotary this afternoon before I came here, and they're off to a great start with celebrating their 100th anniversary coming up, and they're going to tell you their story later on. But also, the Boy Scout troop from 101, they're celebrating their 100th anniversary starting this June, and they have a lot of activities that will be forthcoming to council, and you get a chance to learn more about that later. And then, as I said, we got a great community. So I'm sitting at the Browning having my lunch, and this lady came up. She said, "I just want you to tell you something." I said, "Oh, the garbage hasn't picked up, or we don't have a sign, a good-looking sign in the community." But seriously, Mary Ann was her name, She said, I want you to know that one of my neighbors, one of my friends, her name was Sandy. Sandy had a medical episode about 3 or 4 weeks ago on a Friday night. Of course, our fire department was there, took her to emergency care, to a hospital, and Marianne told Sandy, now, if you need anything, call me and we'll come get you. Well, they thought for sure she would be staying in overnight. That was the condition they thought. So, anyways, the medical folks diagnosed her, and about 11 o'clock at night, they said, hey, you can go home. So Sandy said, well, release me. So she called a cab to come pick her up, 11 o'clock at night. Mind you, she doesn't have her walker. She just left her home earlier that afternoon. So the cab company's driving through Waterville probably around midnight or thereabouts, and one of our police officers stopped the cab because they had a headlight was out. So the police officer, Sergeant Steve Hallett, stopped the cab, checked on the driver, your headlight's out. And through that conversation, well, I should back up. Sandy and the cab driver were talking on the way from the hospital to Waterville who was going to help her get out of the car without a walker into her house. The cab company can't do that. So, as Mary Ann said, it was a holy moment because the police officer stopped, checked on the well-being of the driver without the headlight, and then started talking to Sandy, and through that conversation, told the cab driver to get the light fixed, followed the cab and Sandy home to the Browning, got out of his car, helped Sandy into her house. That's the police department we have in Waterville. That's our fire department. That's our public works. All the people that do the things for our community. And I think it just shows what a great community we live in. So I will close by saying it was a great day in Waterville, and I'm here tonight with council. So more good things to follow. So thank you. Alrighty, we will go on to old business. This is ordinance number 1323. An ordinance adopting the annual appropriations for the municipality of Waterville for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024, and repealing ordinance number 1423 and declaring emergency. The first reading was held on December 11th, 2023. The second reading and public hearing was scheduled for January 8th, 2024, and the third reading and legislative action was scheduled for January 22, 2024. It was tabled and moved to today. So, John, would you like to give us a little update?
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a revised operating budget, and we have closed the year 2023, so we have our actual ending balances minus our carryover expenses, which are for projects that are still encumbered and aren't complete, or the vendor hasn't sent us a final invoice. So we have some carryover expenses, and so we have and then we have our beginning balances. So our ending balance minus our carryovers is our beginning balance for each fund. So those were included into the revised budget, and we made some changes, and I listed those in my report. At the last council meeting, we talked about Parker Square, and we did some changes there, and council wanted to go ahead and fund that project. So we had to increase the cost. We had to add some to the transfer from the general fund to the parks fund, and we also added $213,000 in transfers from the general fund to the 5-year capital fund, and that was necessary to continue our pre-funding requirements, so we're not behind in future years, next year, the year after, in funding our projects that we've already pre-funded. We've also included about $126,000 for roadway paving. Part of that would include a sidewalk inventory, so we're going to go through the whole city and look at all of our sidewalks. In the budget, and we've mentioned this at prior meetings, we have a geographic information system, so we're creating this computerized mapping system in our Public Works Department to keep track of our sidewalks and our shut-off valves and our hydrants and things like that. So the sidewalk inventory is something there to build a data base of information so we can plan those type of projects out a little better. We added $60,000 on our sewer billing just because that was more reflect the 2023 expenditure for our sewer bills. And we added a little bit to the fire payroll. So the budget was included in your council packets. I mentioned at the last council meeting is, originally in the draft budget, we anticipated a little more income tax revenue. So we got our final tax revenue that the finance director mentioned, and we added 1% to that for 2024. So that number has been put into the budget, and it was about $53,000 less than we had in the draft budget.
So I know at our last meeting, we knew that we'd be getting like the adjustment, if you will, because 23 was closed out. So council, I know we just received this the other day, but this would be a time to have conversation. We could pass this tonight, or we could wait until next meeting. Assuming there's nothing significant, I'd entertain more conversation tonight to have some more dialogue. So I will start with Mary Duncan.
I would like to question the police chief and the fire chief's not here, so I'd like to wait till next meeting to
Okay.
finish this.
Is there anything specifically you might address with Joe tonight, or you want to just?
No, it can wait till next
Okay.
meeting.
All right. Anything else, Mary?
I'm kind of curious about health insurance. Page 9, it says account number 100-101, 51710. We had 0, then 12,300, then 39,000. Like it tripled. I knew we were getting an increase, right, from the.
Well, we have some council members that are planning on taking the health insurance. So
Oh, okay.
that's the anticipated cost based on, the number of people enrolled and the increase that was in the budget. So that,
And the increase that is coming from the company that provides us,
Right.
right? We have, and that's effective in August?
right, so it's split between, the cost increase is added in for 6 months.
Okay,
But we're adding more people to the plan.
okay,
So.
no problem.
And I wanted to point out that we haven't taken anything out of the fire or police capital budget. In my notes, we have we're hiring 2 firefighter, EMT paramedics, that was in the budget. So nothing has changed. So we haven't changed anything, we haven't reduced anything.
Right,
And so that stayed the same, and that matches the draft budget. So
Okay.
I just wanted to
just
point that out.
looked out of line. I'm good.
All righty. Todd?
I think I'm good.
That's debatable. Never mind. It's insane. Anthony?
Debatable.
I just have one thing. I see we have budgeted for a zoning inspector again. And I'd also like to, and this may not be the place, this may be an executive session thing, but doing a combined zoning fire inspector. Again, it's been several years since we've had one. There certainly are issues around town, and it probably could be more well taken care of if we did have a part-time zoning inspector that's focused just on zoning. Just my thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Wayne?
I agree, I'd like more time, just to kind of go through it and ask more questions.
Certainly. John Rosie?
I agree, more time. I just want to clarify what Mary was saying, that 39,000 is not all health insurance. The total health insurance bill for the city is probably
No, that's just council.
just council, right, okay.
That's on the council line
That's a
Not
year,
council.
that's for the whole year.
of council.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
Does, John, so that number gets offset by repayment, correct, or no?
It does, yeah. So that's the cost, and then, you know, we reimburse a portion of that.
Okay.
I just remind council to talk into the microphone, please. Anything else that we?
No.
John?
No, that's what I had, but I agree with Mary. Let's wait and do this in a couple of weeks.
Okay. So I concur that we will have time, but I would ask that we target getting it passed at the end of February. That helps John and the staff. Otherwise, we got to continue on resolution. So, alrighty, thank you for that. Next is new business, and this is ordinance number 0124, an ordinance pursuant to Charter Section 5.02, adopting personnel rules, amending Section 4.08 of the Waterville Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual, and declaring an emergency. John, I'd ask you to elaborate on that.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance would make the city's personnel policy and procedural manual consistent with our 4 collective bargaining agreements. So the change is that when you calculate overtime, sick time can't be used in the calculation of overtime. So that is the requirement in our 4 collective bargaining agreements. So we need to make the personnel policy consistent with those agreements.
Okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to move that the rules be suspended to allow for passage of ordinance number 0124 as an emergency measure.
Second.
Second. And we need a roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty. Now I move for the final passage of ordinance number 0124 as the first and final reading as an emergency measure. Need a second?
Second.
Second, John Rosick. Any more discussion? Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Good.
Yes.
Thank you. And then we have Resolution 0624, a resolution declaring the official intent of the City of Waterville on behalf of the State of Ohio, the Bower, to reimburse its Water Capital Improvement Projects Fund for the 2023 Canal Road Waterline Replacement Project, CL18AA, with the proceeds of the tax-exempt debt of the State of Ohio. John, would you elaborate?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution, the state of Ohio, when they provide aid to local communities, sometimes they issue debt, and when they issue debt, like when the city issues debt, we have to do certain things with the IRS, and this is one of those things that is required. So it authorizes the state of Ohio to reimburse the city for the tax-exempt debt that was issued for the cost of this project. And so we are, I guess, declaring our official intent that we're getting reimbursed, and we're depositing that reimbursement in our Water Capital Improvement Fund. So that's our 640 fund. And this is one of the things that we have to do to finalize this project and get our reimbursement.
Need a motion to accept Resolution 0624.
So moved.
Todd Borowski moved. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Mary Duncan. Any more discussion? Although, yes, sir?
John, when we do this, is it taking longer for the state to reimburse us, or is it gonna come, normal speed?
Well, in this particular case, we have to send this resolution to the state, and they'll send us our money.
Sweet, good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyone else? Been moved and seconded for Resolution 0624. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, now we have other information or unscheduled business. I have one item, but I'll go around the room. Anthony Bruno.
Nope.
John Rosick.
Nothing, Your Honor, thanks.
Wayne.
Nope.
Tony.
Nothing, sir.
Todd.
Nope.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. So the last thing is I had in my report earlier. So the Continuous Improvement Corporation, the CIC of Waterville, was in a pause for 2023 for lots of reasons. But we did have a meeting late 23 or late in the year and look for more information on our CIC going forward. The other thing is, you've heard me talk about for a long time, our downtown redevelopment district. All the necessary documents were filed and we're up and running, and we will begin to see some activity with that organization through the CIC and other conversations with council. So things are moving ahead. And then, lastly, I'll turn it over to Mary or to the committee on the famous eclipse for April the 8th. Mary, do you want to comment and then maybe ask some of the committee to discuss?
Sure. We have our first meeting on Thursday. There are a number of city leaders that are actually joining and business owners joining the committee. Terry's on the committee. So we will send out an update as soon as we have a meeting. John, Mr. Johns.
So, in general, lots of things being planned for our community in cooperation with other authorities, and we'll have a great event here, and as we always do, when we got volunteers helping us out.
Right.
So, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
John Rosick moved. Need a second.
Second.
Todd Borowski. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.